Hey guys, tonight we're tuning into something strange. Something that shouldn't still exist. You're sitting in front of your old TV set, probably just killing time or letting insomnia win again, when the screen flickers to black. Then blooms into that all too familiar color test pattern. You know the one. Primary bars, a faint tone, and then, out of nowhere, it says your name. You heard that right. Your actual name. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're still awake after this, let me know your location and local time in the comments. I want to see who else is tuning in from the dark. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. It starts like any other dead-end evening. You're flipping through static, letting your thumb wander across a cheap remote that's missing the battery cover. Most of the channels are empty now, just snow or dead pixels from when the cable box finally gave up. But there's this one, Channel 7B. You don't remember it being there before. There's no programming, no ads, no infomercials for countertop rotisserie ovens. Just a single frame, a vintage SMPTE color bar test pattern. If you blink, you might miss the faint hiss underneath. Not pure static, more like the distant hum of an analog transmitter just barely breathing. It's 2:37 a.m. You're just about to switch off when the tone changes. It's subtle, like someone breathed over a microphone in a nearby room. The screen twitches. The color bars jitter by a pixel or two, like they're flinching. And then, the voice. It's low, male, no accent, no echo. Just your name, said once. Slow, deliberate. You freeze, there's no doubt. That was your name. Not a coincidence, not close. It was exact. You check your phone. No Bluetooth connected, no rogue notifications. You even do that thing where you talk loudly into the room, jokingly addressing the ghost. But the room stays quiet. Of course it does. You're alone, right? The pattern comes back. Normal now. Silent. Innocent. That's when it gets weird, because your memory starts stirring. Something slippery and half-formed. That pattern didn't. You see it before? Like decades ago? Your mind flashes to that big blocky TV your parents used to have in the living room. Wood-paneled, heavy as a tombstone. You remember it crackling to life with that exact same test card. As a kid, you used to stare at it before Saturday morning cartoons kicked in. Only now, you're not sure if it was ever just a pattern. You keep watching. At this point, let's admit it, you should have gone to bed. But humans are stubborn, and curiosity is basically a self-inflicted haunting. So you sit and stare. For 10 minutes, nothing happens. Then, just when your attention starts drifting, the voice returns. This time, it's not just your name. It's your street, the name of your cat, something you Googled yesterday. There's no delay. The words are spoken in a calm, composed rhythm, as if someone, somewhere, is simply reading from a list titled, Things You Thought Were Private. You check the room again, check your phone again, restart your Wi-Fi. You even unplug the TV and plug it back in. The pattern is still there, and now it's blinking. One frame every 5 seconds. At first, it's nonsense. Blips, lines, maybe a glitch. But after a while, it becomes clear. This is a sequence, some kind of language. And if you weren't already spiraling into mild, sleep-deprived paranoia, you'd recognize the format. ASCII encoding. It's spelling words. Welcome back. Not exactly comforting, huh? Quick historical sidebar. SMPTE color bars like these were standardized in 1951 to calibrate broadcast signals. In other words, they weren't supposed to say anything. Their background, infrastructure. But that's the thing. Humans always assume silence is safe. We forget signals can layer. What we see might not be what's really being transmitted. Here's a fun little fringe tidbit for you. In 1987, Chicago's WGN-TV was hijacked during a Doctor Who rerun by a guy in a Max Headroom mask. No one ever caught him. The FCC still has no idea how it was done. They blamed pirate interference. Same excuse they use when the weird stuff happens. Anyway, the point is, hijacks happen. But this isn't a hijack. This feels like something older, like the station wants you to see this, like it's been waiting. You try muting it. That works, briefly. But then your soundbar turns itself back on. You unplug the entire unit. It hums for 2 seconds and then goes silent. You check your reflection in the dark glass of the screen. For just a moment, there's another shape behind you. Nothing's there when you turn. Classic move. You laugh it off. That little nervous laugh people do when they're not actually okay. You tell yourself it's probably a prank, maybe a new ARG. That's what they call it now, alternate reality. Games, viral storytelling, creepy, immersive experiences for bored insomniacs. But this one's different because the voice used your middle name, and nobody online knows that. Historians still argue whether analog broadcasts carried subliminal cues in the Cold War. Some swear they saw footage of sleeping soldiers flinch when a pattern aired. Others say it's just our minds imposing shape on randomness. You'd agree with them if your TV hadn't just whispered your mother's voice back to you, exactly as she said your name when you were 7. You don't remember that moment until it happens. But the TV does, and now it's recording you. You lunge for the power button, the remote bouncing off your knee and clattering under the couch. Doesn't matter, you hit the switch on the screen itself, the old school tactile click. The image should go black, the tone should stop, but instead, the pattern holds. The bars ripple, just slightly, and the tone deepens into a low mechanical. Almost like it's breathing in. You're not imagining that. You yank the power cord. The screen goes dark. Victory. You stand up. Heart still banging against your ribs like it's trying to bail on this episode early. You check your phone again. Anything to re-anchor yourself in something normal. Memes, weather apps, badly lit photos of your cousin's cat, comfort food. That's when your phone screen flickers. For just a split second, it shows color bars, then your name. Again. Okay, deep breath. Let's talk about this. The test pattern, the voices, the personal data. It's creepy, sure, but tech can be hacked. Maybe you signed up for something weird, without knowing. Maybe a third-party app has permissions it shouldn't. Maybe someone is playing an elaborate prank on you, and you're just the unlucky main character. But the air feels off. It's colder than it should be. And somewhere in the back of your head, that instinct from your early mammal ancestors kicks in, the one that says, you're being watched. So you do what any rational person does at 2:48 a.m. when the digital veil of reality starts tearing. You try to record it. You grab your phone, you aim it at the TV. You power the set back on, because of course it's still warm even though you unplugged it for nearly 2 minutes. The screen flashes back to life. Color bars. The hum again. Then, a smiley face. Not cute, not emoji style. One of those crude, uncanny, have a nice day graphics from an 80s button pin, rendered in grainy pixels. Below it, in warped courier text, welcome back, observer. The voice doesn't say your name this time. It says, begin recording. Like a command, your phone screen freezes. You try to switch to camera mode. It crashes. You tap twice, fast. 3 times. Now the camera opens, but all it shows is you, staring back, face pale in the dim blue light of the TV. Only, something's wrong with the reflection. There's a delay, a 1-second lag between your movements and the mirror image on the screen, and then your reflection smiles, but you don't. Fun fact, the first TV broadcast ever was in 1928. A man named Felix the Cat spun on a turntable for hours, transmitted as a test. No sound, just a cartoon doll in black and white. People said it was unsettling, too smooth, too fake to feel safe. The idea of images moving through the air before they're visible still baffles some scientists today. Historians still argue whether early television did more harm than good for the human sleep cycle. Blue light wasn't even the biggest issue. Some thought the faint high-pitched tone embedded in old signals subtly triggered anxiety. Anyway, back to your reflection. It blinks again, out of sync. The smile fades. Then the reflection starts to whisper. You hear nothing from the phone, but the lips move. They say, "We've been here longer than you think." You drop the phone. It lands face up. No cracks. But the screen is blank. Not off, blank. Backlight still glowing, but the image is pure gray. You look up. The TV is off now. No bars, no voice. Just a faint warmth in the air, like static clinging to your skin. You step back, turning off the lights in the room one by one. That familiar sinking feeling follows you down the hallway. Like when you were a kid and turned the lights off at the bottom of the basement stairs, then sprinted up because something might be right behind you. You go to bed, not to sleep, just to hide. You leave your phone on the nightstand, screen down, like that's going to protect you from whatever just happened. Your heart's still trying to process it, still coming up with rational explanations. But the house feels wrong. You don't hear creaks or pipes or even your refrigerator hum. It's like the whole place has slipped out of phase, and you're the only thing still tethered to this version of reality. And then, from your bedroom, soft as breath, you hear the voice again, from your closet. It says, "Don't forget to rewind." You sit up fast. Silence again, no movement, you don't even breathe. And then your closet door opens, just an inch, just enough. You stare at it for 10 straight minutes, convincing yourself it was a draft, that old hinges don't mean anything, that closets don't talk, and certainly don't remember things you forgot. The voice doesn't return. Eventually, exhaustion wins, but you don't dream. You never do after the voice. You wake up to your phone buzzing. Bright sunlight pours through the blinds, reassuring and clinical. Notifications flood the screen, group chats, calendar reminders. Nothing unusual, except for one video file in your gallery. It's titled 2:37 a.m. MP4. You don't remember recording it. You play it. It shows the color bars like before. The voice says your name. Then it says, "Let's begin again." And then you hear your own voice. Flat, robotic. You say, "I am listening." But you never said that out loud. At least, you think you didn't. You tell yourself you're done. You delete the file. Hold your finger on it for the extra second. Tap delete, then empty the trash. Wipe the cache. Restart your phone. You even unplug the TV for good measure. You tell yourself it's just a blip, an electrical echo, a memory fragment from an exhausted brain. But then, 3 nights later, at exactly 2:37 a.m., your bedroom light flickers on. You don't use a timer. You sit up, heart already thumping, as if it knew before you did. The room is exactly the same, except it isn't. The shadows fall just slightly too sharp. The hum of the neighborhood, cars, wind, cicadas, has vanished. There's a hum instead, a low one, almost like an old CRT screen. And then you hear your name. Again. Not whispered. Not broadcast. It's spoken clearly like someone sitting at the foot of your bed. You flick on your phone's flashlight. Nothing there, except the closet door is open. Wider now. You didn't leave it that way. You try to stand, but your legs feel submerged, like wading through invisible syrup. And then the light on your phone turns red. Not a glitch. Not a warm tone. Red. The color of recording. You check the screen. No camera app is open, but the screen shows your face again. You. But not you. You're still in bed. The image on the phone is upright, standing, behind you. You whip around. Nothing. But the phone screen remains. A live feed from a position that doesn't exist. From an angle no device in the room could possibly see. That's when the voice speaks again. You never stopped watching. Not really. Here's something odd from broadcasting history. In 1977, the UK had a famous signal hijack. A rogue transmission interrupted a news report with a distorted voice claiming to be an extraterrestrial. It told viewers to abandon weapons and embrace peace. People dismissed it as a hoax, but the voice was never traced. The equipment used, never found. Historians still argue whether it was an elaborate prank or something stranger. Sound familiar? You finally muster the nerve to toss the phone across the room. It hits the wall, shatters, Screen black. You lie back down, hands over your eyes. You count slowly to 60, like your therapist once suggested. Grounding yourself, feeling your breath, trying to pretend the last 5 minutes didn't happen. That's when you hear the static. Not from the TV, from inside the wall. Like it's coming through the wiring, whispering through drywall and insulation. You press your ear to the plaster. Why do we do that, really? Instinct, masochism. You hear voices. They're not saying your name now. They're laughing, tiny laughs, like a room full of children watching something funny you can't see. And something worse. Some of them are laughing in sync, like a studio audience cue. Like canned laughter. Too perfect. Too well timed. You back away. You try to leave the room, but the doorknob feels warm, warmer than it should be. You finally get it open, and every light in the hallway is turned on. The TV plugged back in. No, you know you pulled the cord. But there it is, glowing faintly, not playing anything. Not yet. You creep forward. The living room feels elongated. The distance between rooms stretched like a bad dream. You pass a mirror. You glimpse yourself, but not your current expression. Your reflection is smiling. Again. Wider this time. That's not you. You look directly into the mirror. Your smile returns to normal. Your face obedient. You lean closer, and then the image leans closer, faster. Nose pressed to the glass before you even move. You jump back. It blinks. The glass fogs, like someone breathing from the inside. That's when you notice something else. The mirror is slightly warped, not cracked, warped. Like heat bending the world on a summer highway. You place your hand against the surface. It's warm, the same warmth from the TV. Then the TV turns on by itself. No sound, just a looping message in white serif font, tune. And to stay safe. You should leave. Of course you should leave, but you don't. You walk to the couch and sit down, like you're a guest in someone else's living room. Like this has happened before. You stare at the screen. It shifts again, to that familiar test pattern. Then the smiling face. Then, you have been selected. Not in an exciting lottery way, in a last man on earth kind of way. You think about calling someone, your friend, your mom, the cops, sure. But what do you say? Hi, yes, I'm being stalked by a haunted television broadcast. Even your brain rolls its eyes at that one. Besides, your phone is shattered, and your landline, remember those? Crackles when you pick it up. Not with dial tone, with static. Then the voice again, calmer this time, like it's settling in. You watched long enough to open the door. The screen shifts. A new image. It's your childhood bedroom, not a picture. Live feed, the bed's made. The nightlight you forgot you had is glowing softly. Then it pans to the closet. You don't remember installing a camera in there. But the voice says, don't worry. We never forget your favorite shows. The feed ends. Just a blank screen, a single blinking word. Paused. The remote sits next to you now. You don't remember picking it up, but your thumb is over the play button. You press it. Of course you do. You tell yourself it's just to see what happens. Just a flicker of curiosity, that's all. The same impulse that makes you read the last page of a book you're still halfway through. You press play, and the screen cuts to black. For a few seconds, there's only silence. Then a flicker. Footage. Begins jittery and lo-fi, like something found on a decomposing VHS in a church basement. A hallway you don't recognize, filmed in black and white. Empty, lit only by flickering overhead fluorescence. And the camera's moving. Whoever's holding it is walking slowly, as though trying not to breathe too loud. Then, static. A flash of text. Recording file 0021A. You don't remember seeing file 0020. Before you can think more on that, the screen shows something that stops your breath. It's your front door, from the outside. Timestamp reads, 2:37 a.m. tonight's date. The person holding the camera walks closer to the door. No knocking, just standing, watching. The audio crackles. And then, yep, you guessed it, the voice. Why lock it? You let us in already. It's not a threat. It's worse. It's casual, like an old friend ribbing you for forgetting your keys. You jump up and run to your front door. Locked. You chain it. Bar it. Put a chair under the knob. But something's off. The chain is warm, and faintly, you hear a chuckle. Not through the door. From behind you. Back on the screen. The footage cuts to the interior of your house. Not just any angle. It's a top-down view from above the ceiling fan. You look up. No camera, but the fan's spinning now. You didn't turn it on. You haven't used that thing in years. The dust layer is thick enough to qualify for carbon dating. Let's pause. Not the tape. Let's breathe. Here's something weird to think about. In the 1950s, a phenomenon called numbers stations broadcast mysterious strings of digits, tones, and noises across shortwave radio. Some were used for espionage. Others? No one's sure. One, nicknamed the Buzzer, has been broadcasting a low buzzing tone since 1973. Still active today. No official explanation. Scholars still debate whether it's a forgotten Cold War relic or something more recent, more deliberate. Anyway, back to the horror show. Your living room lights turn off. You didn't touch anything. The remote's no longer in your hand. It's gone. The screen now shows your bedroom. You're on the bed, not asleep, staring at the camera. The version of you. On screen slowly raises its hand and waves. You don't, but the copy does. The smile again. The exact same as before. Then a subtitle appears on screen, old school closed caption style. Let's try again. You blink, and suddenly the screen glitches, hard. The image wobbles, sound distorts, and then a new room fades in. Someplace unfamiliar, dark grimy wallpaper, a rotary phone, a tube TV that looks decades old. Something scurries across the floor, probably a rat, or not. You tell yourself it's a rat because that's easier than considering what else moves like that. Then you hear breathing, not from the screen, from behind the screen. There's no one back there, except now there might be. You edge toward the TV, holding your breath. Listen closely. The breathing syncs with yours for a moment, then shifts slightly ahead, like something anticipating your inhalation. The screen goes black again. Then a new message, this time blinking slowly. You're doing great. You nearly laugh. Not because it's funny, because it's exactly what your first grade teacher used to say. You whisper, "What do you want?" The TV responds, "Text only. We want you to remember." The screen shows footage of a school hallway, your old elementary school. You recognize the rust-streaked lockers, the water fountain that never worked, but it's night in the footage. The windows are black. The floor's wet, like it's been freshly mopped, or like something else soaked it. Then, something impossible. You see a figure walk down the hallway, a child. Small, holding a CRT TV in their arms. No cords, no sound. Just dragging their feet softly, headed toward a door marked AV storage. Then the camera view cuts to inside the AV room. You're watching from the corner of the ceiling again. The child enters, sets down the TV. It turns on by itself. Shows your current living room. And that's when you realize the kid is you. You as a child. Same haircut, same backpack, same scar on your eyebrow from when you ran into a mailbox during tag. The screen flickers again. Something slipped through. Then, you left it on. The screen glitches one last time, then cuts to the present. You're there again. Couch, dark room, alone, except you see movement. From inside the screen, a figure is walking toward the glass. Slow, careful steps. It's you, again. But this time the expression isn't blank. It's angry. Then the power goes out. Not just the TV, the whole apartment. You're in darkness, but not silence. The breathing returns, this time in stereo. Not left and right, above and below. You back away from the TV, but your foot knocks something over. The remote. It's back. You pick it up. No buttons work, except one. Rewind. You don't want to press it, but your thumb twitches. A little muscle memory. Years of skipping ads and rewinding scenes. You squeeze the button. The TV lights up again. It's playing the exact moment your name was first said. The first glitch. The 2:37 a.m. broadcast. You scream, but no sound comes out. You're muted, on screen. Your copy tilts its head, then mouths something. You can't hear it, but you read the lips clearly. It's always been you. The screen crackles. It's loading something new. You don't look away. You should, but you don't. You watch the pixels burn themselves into place, slowly, deliberately, as though the signal is struggling to punch its way through whatever veil separates your reality from wherever this came from. The image settles. It's your apartment, but not quite. Subtle details don't match. The wallpaper's off, slightly too yellow. A clock on the wall ticks backward. Your bookshelf holds the same titles, but they're in a different order. And the air, somehow, through the screen, you can feel the air. Heavy, musty, like a basement that's been sealed for decades. A message fades in, center screen. File 0033C, live view, live. You lean in closer. The broadcast jitters, then smooths out. And then, the worst detail yet. On the wall behind your doppelganger, just above the old CRT, is a printed test pattern, the kind used to calibrate screens. It's the one from the original broadcast, the one that said your name. You remember the exact moment it happened. 2:37 a.m. You were still half asleep. You thought the TV turned on by accident, just a tone, then the voice, that soft mechanical rasp, your name, and something about the way it said it. It wasn't calling to you, it was identifying you. The broadcast had found you. You shake off the memory and focus. In the footage, your copy is moving again. It gets up from the couch, walks toward the TV. You watch as it reaches behind the unit, clicks something off camera. The screen you're watching splits in half. One side shows the mirror version of your apartment. The other, darkness, no footage, just sound, footsteps, clicking, then a whisper. One of those uncanny whispers where it feels like the speaker is right up against your neck. Not everything that watches you is on a screen. You spin around, nothing. But then you notice your phone screen. It's glowing, face down on the table. You didn't touch it. You pick it up. There's a message. You've been streaming since 2:37 a.m. You check. It's true. An unknown app. No icon. Just running silently in the background. Streaming what exactly? The phone screen shifts. The camera activates. You see yourself. But something's wrong with the background. It's not your apartment anymore. It's that mirror version. Except now, behind you in the frame, is that test pattern again. Your own face pixelates slightly, just enough to hide the eyes. Now let's veer briefly into a historic side alley while your sanity catches up. Did you know that during the Cold War, the US and the Soviet Union experimented with signal weaponry? Low-frequency sound, known as infrasound, was believed to cause unease, hallucinations, and paranoia in lab tests. While some scientists dismissed it as pseudoscience, others, particularly in intelligence circles, considered it too effective to be fake. Historians still argue whether these experiments ever left the lab, or whether some incidents in the late 80s were test runs under the radar. Anyway, you blink and your phone returns to the home screen. No trace of the app. Your heart's racing. The TV is still on, still split. But now, a voice speaks again. Through your speakers this time. Let's finish the story. The footage pans upward to show a ceiling in that alternate apartment. There's something haphazardly carved into it. Letters, do not turn around. You don't. You try not to. But your eyes flick toward the reflection in the TV. Nothing. But that's not the same as no one. The camera on screen flips around. It now shows a stairwell, concrete walls, emergency lights flickering overhead. No explanation how it got there. Just suddenly, we're moving downward. Step after step. An old exit sign hangs crooked above a fire door. On the door, something is scrawled in marker. Stay on the channel. The door creaks open. Darkness. And then light, but not from above, from below. pale, static-like shimmer like snow on a tube TV. The sound is muffled, like someone screaming underwater. You lean in, instinctively. On the screen, a shape moves forward, slow, twitching steps, like it's buffering every few feet. A humanoid silhouette made entirely of warped pixels and color bars. You can feel it watching. It raises a finger, points, at you. The broadcast zooms in suddenly. A close-up of your face from earlier footage. But now the eyes are missing. Not gory, just blank voids, like they were erased frame by frame. Text returns. You should have listened. The screen distorts, shifts through violent colors, and suddenly the footage stops. Black screen, silence. You glance around. Your apartment is unchanged. The fan has stopped spinning. The lights are back. TV off. Phone normal. You reach for the remote. Click power. Nothing. No response. And then you realize there's a single line of static glowing softly on the screen. Not full fuzz, just a thin shimmering band. Morse code. You don't know Morse code, but something inside you recognizes it anyway. A word, a final message. Soon. Your lights flicker once, then settle. Everything is fine. You're fine. But when you check the mirror on the way to bed, your reflection smiles a second longer than you do. You stare at it. It stares back. And then you swear, just before you blink. It's lips move. See you at 2:37. You're still here. You made it. That's the funny thing about stories like this. They curl into your brain like radio waves through static. Faint, distant, but insistent. You start questioning small things. Was that creak in the hallway just your pipes? Has the hallway always been that dark at night? And why did your phone just light up if no one's texting you? But this is the moment we slow down. Let it all fade for a bit. The signal, the voices, the mirror, you with the too long smile. They'll still be there tomorrow. They don't leave just because the story ends. But tonight, you've done something brave. You listened. You stayed with me, even when the lights flickered and the story bent sideways. Now breathe in slow, feel the weight of the blanket, the hum of the fan. Let your eyes soften, and imagine that even the darkest signals eventually fade into silence. There's a stillness coming. No voices, no glitches. Just the gentle, low tone of peace. You'll fall asleep tonight remembering only fragments. The hallway. That didn't end. The child carrying the CRT. That whisper near your ear. And maybe, just maybe, when 2:37 rolls around again, you won't wake up, because this time you turned the TV off, didn't you? Sweet dreams.